points a game. You don't want to get in a shootout with the Cougars. This game has to be in the 60s for CSU to win. And number two, the backcourt battle. We got Walker and Gardner versus Fredette and Emery. Walker's the leading scorer, 16 points a game. Gardner's had his best stretch this year. He scored 23 points last out, so it's a backcourt battle, and they have to elevate their game, CSU, in the backcourt if they want to win.
All right, Larry, how about a couple keys to the game from you?
Well, I really believe that Colorado State is in for a long night, long afternoon. They have a change in their offense, which always makes me a little bit nervous. So they're going in with some question marks. BYU is loaded across the front, guards, forwards, wing players. Chris Miles, adequate center, not bad, can score a little bit. But BYU is just too strong around the perimeter. Once they get rolling offensively, it's over.
I think it's strange that we haven't mentioned Lee Camard or Jonathan Tavernari in this show today.
Well, the Spider-Man and the Brazil Bomber are just absolutely terrific at the wing positions. But when you look at CSU now, they took Minnesota right to the wire. Should have beat Minnesota. And Minnesota, I think, is ranked in the top 25. So I look for CSU to play one whale of a game. This could be a signature win for them if they can pull it out. But they're playing against a team that is so talented. BYU is coming off of that game where they a 53-game win streak. No loss is good, but they got more publicity for losing this game national and for the Mountain West Conference as well. I mean, everybody's talking about that game. So BYU coming to Rameytown, look for a very competitive game. I disagree with Larry. I know, hey, look, I know it's conference play, and it's more physical and intense, and you guys are taking shots at me. I can do the peekaboo.
You're throwing some.
You're taking shots at me.
We're not taking shots. It's all love, Coach.
Yeah, you regretted the Fletcher foul, but we got it in, and believe me, for the CSU Rams to win, they got to control tempo with their defense and their offense. They need touches. They got to have at least 10 passes before they look to shoot, but look for Junior Walker and the All-Stars to have a big game, but don't forget about, as you mentioned, the Spider-Man and the Brazil Bomber. They're used to winning on the road. Should be a big game for those two guys.
Coach, we need to give you a big old hug. That'll do it for Pregame Live. I'm Marius. That's Marty. That's Larry. We will see you at the half as BYU visits the Rams of Colorado State. Enjoy the game. We will see you again after the first 20 minutes to play. Take care, everybody.
The Canyons Resort in Park City, Utah. The ultimate winter playland.
Pacific Systems kept rolling into the west this week, bringing fresh powder to most resorts in the area, especially across the north. Now, the recent avalanche situation seems to have settled down a bit, but it's always a good idea to check with a ski patrol before you go into the backcountry. The parade of Pacific storms continued this week, setting the stage for a terrific weekend in the mountains. Powder Mountain, Wolf Mountain, and Beaver Mountain in northern Utah all picked up new snow this week, and their conditions are outstanding now. Snow Basin, the Canyons, and Park City are all closing in on full operation, and you should still be able to find some fresh this weekend. The corduroy is pristine at Deer Valley, and there are still powder stashes to be enjoyed at Brighton and at Solitude. Sundance, Alta, and Snowbird, well, you just can't make a bad choice right now, as all three have been the recipient of some meaningful snow this week. Some early week snow passed through the south, and both Bryan Head and Durango have just about everything open. Ski Apache in New Mexico is still looking for a major dump. Everything's skiable at Monarch and Ski Cooper. A-Basin's another spot that hasn't been as lucky with storms thus far this season. Winter Park and Copper are both within 10 runs or so of having everything open. Steamboat got tagged with snow midweek, and every inch is skiable now. Grand Targhee in Wyoming is living up to its reputation as a mecca for powder hounds. Sun Valley in Idaho, after a long fight, is now in full operation. For the foreseeable future, the West is going to enjoy a lot of bluebird skies. I'm Herb Stevens, the skiing weatherman. I'll see you next week.
It's about teamwork, strength from unity, rising to the moment,
reaching for greatness.
It's where excellence becomes reality.
And team becomes the ultimate champion.
This is Mountain West basketball.
And this is where we play, the mountain, where the West is one.
Today, it's BYU and CSU at 1, UNLV and TCU at 3:30, and Air Force in New Mexico at 7:30, only on the mountain.
Our basketball tripleheader kicks off today in Fort Collins. BYU's first conference game. Dave Rose's Cougars, the two-time defending conference champs, led by last year's Conference Player of the Year and the preseason pick to do it again, Lee Cummard. Tim Miles, CSU Rams continue to get better and better, led as always by last year's conference's leading scorer, Marcus Walker. BYU and CSU coming up next right here on the Mountain. Colorado State lost their conference opener at TCU, but now the Rams are at home, and the Moby Arena faithful welcoming them back today against BYU. Hi everyone, Mike Evans along with Blaine Fowler. You know, BYU's Lee Cummard, the reigning Conference Player of the Year. A lot of people think that he'll do it again this year, but his biggest competition may come from his teammate, Jonathan Tavernari.
Boy, BYU has a great 1-2 punch in Tavernari and Lee Cummard, number 2 and number 4 in the conference in scoring, but they do so much more than just score. Tavernari, with his international experience playing for the Brazilian national team, really improved his defensive game in the offseason and his strength inside. This is a guy with unlimited range. He can shoot it deep, but I'm most impressed with his physical play inside and how unselfish he's become in the offseason. And in Lee Cummard, you have a player that does it all for BYU, does everything well, runs the floor extremely well. He can put the ball on the floor and get to the rim. He's got good range. He's an extremely unselfish basketball player. He's the kind of guy that makes everybody on the floor better around him.
CSU's leading scorer, Marcus Walker, coming off the bench. Does that put added pressure on Willis Gardner to sort of carry the starting five?
Well, the punch off the bench is Walker. The punch to start the game has to be Willis Gardner. He's coming off a 23-point performance at TCU, and they don't necessarily need him to score 23 every game. They need him to be the leader on the floor, get him into their sets, and set everybody else up, and when he's open, he's got to knock down shots.
Well, sit back and relax. We have a triple header coming up for you. Pop some popcorn and get ready to watch two of the conference's best in Marcus Walker and Lee Cummard. College hoops, BYU and CSU to kick it all off. Coming up next here on the Mountain.
Hello, Ram fans. NCAA football is all about great tradition, big rivalries, and exciting action. Be a role model. Cheer loudly and proudly, but do it with class. Show respect to your fellow fans, players, and game officials. Keep it fun, keep it safe, and enjoy the game. The Mountain West Conference and NCAA football, thank you for your support.
The fans are like none other. I mean, think specifically, you go to Laramie on a Saturday afternoon, the town doubles in size, and the fans are so passionate. And it doesn't matter whether you're in Laramie or in Fort Collins or in Colorado Springs or down in Provo, up in Salt Lake City, the Mountain West Conference fans have passion. They care about their teams, and that shows up in the stadiums on Saturday. You can feel the emotion, you can feel the intensity, and the love that those fans have for their teams.
It's a numbers game, the show that takes you beyond the box scores.
Hello and welcome to It's a Numbers Game. I'm Scott Serra.
Breaking down the conference.
Let's crunch some numbers.
The teams.
They have made 7 consecutive trips to the NCAA tournament.
And the games.
It was anyone's game, and there were some shocking results.
With all the stats to back it up.
The men's team ended a 19-year drought in winning the regular season title, and they did it in impressive fashion.
It's a numbers game, Thursday at 7:30 on the Mountain.
Mountain Basketball is brought to you by Dodge. See the all-new 2009 Dodge Ram Crew Cab 1500 at your Dodge dealer. By Sinclair Oil, we're about as American as it gets. And brought to you by Sonic's new everyday value menu. It's not just good, it's Sonic good. And welcome into Moby Arena on the campus of Colorado State University. Starting lineups are brought to you by Sinclair Oil. We're about as American as it gets. We talk all about Cummard and Tavernari. Do not sleep on Jimmer Fredette. He comes in averaging 15 points per game. And for CSU, Marcus Walker, as we have told you before, coming in off the bench. Now, Willis Gardner, the senior, coming off a career-high 23 against TCU. And Blaine, time now for a look at our Dodge keys to the game.
Well, we talked to both coaching staffs before this one, and they gave us what they thought was important for them to get into it. For BYU, they've got to find the shooters on the perimeter. They can't allow guys like Marcus Walker to hit open threes and keep them in the game, and then 1 and out. They can't allow offensive rebounds for Colorado State and easy putbacks. And then on the other side, Colorado State, we talked to Tim Miles, and he talked about slowing down showtime. He mentioned to you that this BYU team reminds him of the Lakers of the mid-'80s, where they have get out and run. They need to slow it down, keep the scoring down, play transition D, and force BYU to defend. They're such a good offensive team. They want to take some time on offense, take good shots, and make BYU work on defense, keep that scoring down.
Tim Miles, when I asked about BYU, his eyes just lit up, and he says, they're like the '85 Lakers. I laughed. He goes, no, seriously, the way that they run and get out and get transition baskets, and the fact that everybody gets involved. It's not just one guy that kind of kickstarts everything. All right, we are underway, and the opening tip goes to CSU. Jesse Carr, the freshman out of Nebraska, getting it to Willis Gardner. Travis Franklin made his first start the other day against TCU. And Andy Ogaday missing, crashing, and there's that 1 and out. Fredette, Camard, and Tavanari as they work the ball around to Emery. Camard working and throwing up the first shot and draining it over under McFarland.
He's so good one-on-one, and the fact that he can post you up or he can face up with you from the outside makes him so difficult to defend. It's hard to choose a defender to put on him.
Blaine, a story that we want to get into here as we move along through the first part of the game with CSU. They've got a new look to their offense as it's picked off, and here comes that transition of the Cougars. Finding Emery, laying it up and in.
Oh, they run so well, and all the parts are interchangeable. They get the ball out to the outlet, and they're off and running. They just fill the lane so well. Their offense in transition feeds off of that defense.
So CSU sort of tweaking their offense now.
Yeah, they've traditionally, under Tim Miles, for 50-some games, run a motion offense, and now they're going 4 out and 1 in. They're going to run more sets, and they're going to try to get Ogaday better shots in the middle. He will be the post player, that 1 in with 4 people spaced around him. And you see here as they'll move the ball around him. He's going to cut the lane. They're going to try to get him the ball on the move, get him the ball in better spots so that he has an opportunity to score.
Dave Rose, the 2-time reigning Mountain West Conference Coach of the Year, 84 and 28. 4 seconds left. Gardner's going to have to hoist. There's an offensive rebound, but blocked. Another chance and another miss. CSU can't complain about the looks.
Now, Colorado State has got to convert when they get second chance buckets, and boy, 2 easy transition baskets. Colorado State offensively, they're going to send 3 to the offensive glass and send 2 back every time to try to defend. But those 2 aren't the only 2 they have to get back. Once you know that rebound is cleared by BYU, you've got to turn and run as hard as you can back to the paint.
Gardner shut off by Miles, but Miles called for the foul.
You know, when you talk to Tim, he mentioned to you that this is such a young team, and they've had so many injuries. As we look at Tim Miles in his second season, 12 and 35, he mentioned that with the injuries, they've had 10 different lineups, and they're so young that they wanted to simplify the offense. And Nico Medved, who is one of his assistants.
Laid up and in by Travis Franklin.
Well, and an and one. Travis Franklin really coming on and playing well as a young guy. He wanted to make it simple for him and not have them thinking out there. And Travis Franklin's a guy who's really come on. I think he had his coming out party against Nevada early in the season where he came out and had a big-time game for them. Scored 18 points and had 8 rebounds, and he got his first start against TCU, and he's been very productive.
There's another offensive rebound by McFarland. Jesse Carr. And the rebound picked up by Camard. BYU does quickly transition, don't they?
And they'll push the ball off of a miss or a make. If you make it, you can't relax. They'll pull it out of the net and go with it. Wake Forest coach, Wake Forest number 6 in the country, played BYU this past week, and his comment after the game was, that was the quickest team we've played all season. So that's saying something because they play in a great conference.
Missed by Tavanari, and Tavanari called for loose ball foul. Tim Miles said that the plan offensively is try to make BYU have to play defense.
And I think that Colorado State would like to see this score in the 60s. BYU comes into this game averaging over 80 a game, 81.5. And when they're running, they're feeling great. He'd like to make them work defensively. And we'll look at halftime. If that score for BYU is below 40, then Colorado State would have done their job at keeping them under their average.
There's one of those cuts off the high post. Beautifully designed.
And keep in mind, this is a new offense for Colorado State, so BYU has not been able to scout it. There should be some good looks.
And a traveling call against BYU. This is one of those things with Tim Miles where he's got this new look offense and all revolves around the high post.
Yeah, the ball's into the high post, and there's going to be a lot of cutters in this offense. They will play some two-man game where the post player will set a ball screen high and play the two-man game. And that one was just a simple ball into the high post and a back cut. Jesse Carr with an easy bucket.
Carr with a wild shot. And here comes that transition led by Emery. One-on-one. Throws it up, and offensive foul called against Emery. Nice job getting back.
And you have got to get back and defend BYU in transition, and a good job that time. You get back and get out in front. And Emery, because he threw that up over his shoulder, and sometimes when you throw it up wildly, it doesn't matter if the defender's completely set. The call's going to go against you.
Willis Gardner drawing the charge. Gardner missed some time earlier in the year with a sprained ankle. Tim Miles says that he is the heart and soul of this offense, of this team. Good look to Ogade from Carr.
Well, some good back cuts, some good movement off the basketball, away from the ball, where guys are cutting to the basket and getting good looks.
6-6 in the early going. We played 4. Kamard for 3.
And he and Tavernari and Fredette and Emery all shoot the basketball extremely quick. They can all catch and shoot immediately. That's so difficult to recover to. You're helping on D, they catch the ball, and the ball's gone.
Taking a look at the shot clock and seeing how much time CSU can force BYU to play defense. Down to 13 seconds, so they have forced defense to be played, but an offensive foul away from the ball as Emery gets knocked down. Early starts, BYU, CSU. Welcome to Fort Collins.
Remember when the most important thing in life was learning your ABCs? It still is. St. George, Utah, everything from A to Zion.
The Mountain salutes the Colorado State Rams, winners of the 2008 New Mexico Bowl. Congratulations from all your friends at the Mountain.
Yeah! Earn double Hilton Honors base points. Real value from your friends at Hampton.
You're watching The Mountain, Mountain West Sports Network.
It's about teamwork.
Strength from unity.
Rising to the moment.
Reaching for greatness.
It's where excellence becomes reality.
And team becomes the ultimate champion.
This is Mountain West basketball.
And this is where we play. The Mountain, where the West is one.
Coming up today, men's basketball continues with UNLV and TCU at 3:30 and Air Force in New Mexico at 7:30. Right here on The Mountain.
Hey, Lee Kamard, three-pointer is the difference in this game as we welcome you back, CSU and BYU. Check out our Conoco Athlete of the Week. It's Utah's Luke Neville.
Boy, 15 points and 8 rebounds against Gonzaga and 29 points and 13 rebounds against Wyoming. And Neville, well, I'll tell you what, he may be the most improved. I mean, he was a good player last year, but he may be the most improved player in the league. Jim Boylan loves the toughness that Luke Neville has come to play with this season for the Utes. And they're on a run. They're playing well right now.
You know, you talk about the preseason co-players of the year, Lee Kumard and Wink Adams, but Neville right now making a case for the best player in the conference in the early going. Marcus Walker has come in off the bench, so the super sub for CSU is out there, playing some defense to start. Kumard, that quick release.
What Marcus Walker gives you now is a fresh set of legs after everybody else has played 4 minutes. He's got a defender that's a little bit tired, and he's anxious to go, and he can come in and provide some instant offense. Tim Miles told us that he likens it to the old days. You can tell he's an 80s fan. It was like Michael Cooper coming off the bench for the Lakers, or Kevin McHale when he was the sixth man at Boston. So he's going back to the glory days when the Lakers and Celtics were playing every year. But that's what he wants to roll Marcus Walker to play.
5 seconds left on the shot clock. Gardner's going to have to drive. Failure to draw any iron, but Miles is there with the rebound. Quickly back the other way, picked off by Gardner. One-on-one against Miles. Draws the contact, lays it up and in, no foul.
The senior getting it done. He took the charge on the other end, and he gets a steal. He's getting it done on defense. And look at the energy of Marcus Walker defensively now. Coming off the bench, he wants to make something happen, and he's got a ton of energy.
Miles against Ogade. Oh, the strip by Franklin. He thought he had all ball. Marcus Walker now playing off the bench. Leads the team in scoring at 16 points per game. That average has actually gone up a point since he's moved into the coming off the bench.
He gets the same minutes. And Marcus Walker actually told the coaches he likes coming off the bench. It allows him to kind of settle down, see what the defense is doing out there, and kind of get into the flow of the game before he steps on the floor. And so the minutes are the same. He's just not getting the first 4 minutes of the game.
Tim Miles, you're right. He loves that 80s basketball. He talked of, and I think the Lakers too, because he referenced the Showtime Lakers and that sixth-man role. He talked about Michael Cooper. And as a lifelong Celtics fan, I had to say, and Kevin McHale. He's like, yeah, and Kevin McHale and the microwave, Vinnie Johnson in Detroit. But yeah, you look at those great teams of the 80s. By the way, the best NBA basketball ever played was in the 80s.
I agree.
And all those good teams had 6 men that could come in and give you that instant spark. Turnaround jumper, up and in by Ogade.
See, I was thinking of World B. Free from the Sixers.
10-10. BYU and CSU, and putting it up and in.
Boy, Jimmer Fredette was impressive against Wake Forest. And boy, let's see if they give Marcus Walker the basket, and they do count it. Walker goes aggressively to the hoop, pushes the basketball, and once he realizes that he's got a shoulder ahead here, he says, okay, I'm going. Taking it to the basket. And Charles Abou could not get back quick enough. Marcus Walker is very, very fast in the open court.
How about CSU kind of turning the tables on BYU with transition there?
And we mentioned that they want to kind of slow it down a little bit in half court, but when they have an opportunity to run, they have the athletes that they can get up the floor.
Turned over, and here comes another transition opportunity. Walker for 3. This place would have exploded if that had gone down. Abuo and Rose out there now for BYU. And Dave Rose hoping to get a little bit more from his bench.
And with this lineup on the floor, this is a big lineup for BYU with Abuo and Rose and Fredette on the guard line. They've got Kumard playing at the power forward really right now. And Rose and Kumard are interchangeable at the wing really. And Miles at center. That means the smallest guy on the floor is Fredette at 6'2" and 195 pounds for the Cougars.
Fredette from downtown, bang.
This is a very confident sophomore. He was confident last year as a freshman, but the thing that surprised me in their Wake Forest game, he proved that not only is he savvy and strong and a good shooter, but he is extremely quick. I mean, he played with Wake Forest and was Jimmer. Jimmer Fredette just came over and knocked our monitor down, and he goes, sorry about that, guys.
You'll be getting a bill.
He came right in. We'll give him a bill for the ISO monitor here. It was funny because he turned over. He's like, sorry about that, guys. So Jimmer came into the living room for Mike and I, not into yours, but into ours.
Franklin's blocked. Here comes Kumard. CSU back, picked off by Nygon, but they're going to call the foul against Adam Nygon.
So, and here comes Jimmer Fredette with a defensive hustle and the ball. See, hey, sorry about that, guys. One of the top players in the state of New York coming out of high school, a prolific scorer, was Jimmer Fredette, but he's also playing some outstanding defense. 2,404 career points in high school.
Misses badly on that one. CSU hanging close, down by just 2. Nygon for 3. And Fredette with the rebound. The irony of this matchup, Kumard and Nygon, we'll talk about this in a moment, as it'll go the other way. Tim Miles looks at Adam Nygon and sees a little Lee Kumard. We'll explain coming up next on the Mountain.
Earn double Hilton Honors base points. Real value from your friends at Hampton.
Hi, I'm Marius Payton.
And I'm Bill Dolman.
Get the latest news, program guides, and video extras at the Mountain Online.
It's total access at your fingertips 24 hours a day.
Log on now to the Mountain Online at the MTN.TV.
We're out here racing luxury trucks. I mean, I can't think of a better word, but fantastic. Yeah, that's what I like about it. Yeah! This thing rocks. Wow, that's cool. Yeah! Go, 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 go! I love it. Can we do it again?
Close out your day on the court
with Post-Game Live.
From courtside,
they improved to 6-1. They got a lot of confidence. They play tough.
to the studio.
They have just been dominant throughout this conference.
I think they're the team to beat.
Get the best highlights.
Bailey for the big finish.
And complete analysis.
TJ goes 8 for 8 from the foul line.
Right here after the game.
Post-Game Live, only on the Mountain.
Get total coverage after the game with Post Game Live, right here on the Mountain.
Coming up today, we have more from the hard court as our men's triple header continues. At 3:30, the action moves to Fort Worth, where the Rebels battle the Frogs. And at 7:30, it's the Falcons and Lobos in a showdown at the pit. It's all coming up today, right here on the Mountain. Good look at the CSU campus as we come back inside Moby Arena. No snow. Where's the snow?
It was a pleasant surprise when I had to drive up late last night in the dark. There was no snow. It's actually a beautiful day here in the Rocky Mountains. Sun shining, clear sky. There's nothing like snow-capped mountains with a beautiful blue sky as a backdrop.
And for our director, Mike Helling, he's excited because it means he can play winter golf.
Yeah, it was like 60 the other day here in Colorado, and he played golf.
Yeah. Says he got 85 from the tips. Sure. Mike Evans and Blaine Fowler. CSU down by 2 with the ball. Jesse Carr, freshman from Ainsworth, Nebraska, trying to drive on Fredette. Bo Carbaugh to Walker. Shot clock down to 7. And Walker able to draw the foul.
And Marcus Walker, he's a scorer. He understands how to get to the free throw line. I mean, he can make shots in the open, he can take you off the dribble, but he understands how to take the ball in traffic and to use his body to shield the ball and draw contact. And he knows how to get to the free throw line, then he can convert it, 76.7%.
You've got BYU right now shooting 60%, CSU just 37%, but CSU has more field goal opportunities. Going back to one of your keys for BYU, the one and done, they haven't really been able to limit CSU.
Yeah, and then the other thing is that CSU has really increased the intensity on the defensive end. They forced some turnovers. BYU has 4 turnovers now, and those turnovers are resulting in baskets on the other end. Colorado State, this offense that Tim Miles and Nico Medved put in has worked well. They're getting some points from close range, 10 points in the paint already out of the 15 for Colorado State. That's exactly what Tim Miles wants.
And Tim Miles also wanted to sort of shorten the game, and we're just about midway through the first half, 15-15. The score is being played at the level that CSU wanted, and they force another miss on Tavanari. McFarland for three, rims out. And back to BYU.
Well, and BYU is a team, Mike, that they can go for a little lull for a couple of minutes, but they have so many shooters that all of a sudden it'll be bam, 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 3 straight three-pointers in a row, and they put 9 on you. They can score in bunches.
Good defense by CSU, and Nygon. Tim Miles, I was talking with him yesterday about Lee Camard as Nygon comes in with the tie-up, and he was just raving about Kumar, and he's like, I love his guts, I love his intensity, I love his fearlessness. I asked him about Nygon. He says, you know, he's kind of like our poor man's Lee Camard in the things that he does. I wish we had more like him.
Yeah, he's not 6'7", he doesn't have the length and some of the things, but Nygon as a battler and as a walk-on, he earned his Walker, turns the ball over. Marcus Walker's with a carry there. But Nygon walked onto this team at an open tryout, made the team, and has earned himself playing time. And early in the year, he wasn't playing much, and every time he went in the game, he was terrific. And over the last 5 games, he's been averaging 20 minutes a game. Tim Miles loves the boost that he gives the team, and he loves the effort. It's infectious for the rest of the team.
So you should not be surprised that his nickname is the X Factor.
And Lee Camard's not an X factor. He is the factor. He's not the guy you don't expect to score. He's the guy you expect to continue to do that. It comes off the curl, and how do you block that? A 6'7", the release is so high. He's got a great vertical.
And a travel called against Travis Franklin. Yes, let's stress, Tim Miles was not trying to say that Adam Nygon is like Lee Camard. He just says he's sort of a poor man's
the character,
Lee Camard.
He has that toughness and those kinds of things that you love in a Lee Camard. Lamont Morgan Jr. in the game for BYU. He brings a lot of quickness to that point guard position.
Emery for three, swish.
All right, Jackson Emery, back off of a mission, contributed as a freshman, but I would say he is one of the big pleasant surprises. They knew he was good, but to have him back this quick and to be as solid as he is, he's a very good defender, and if you leave him open, boy, he can just stroke the three.
Do you get the sense watching BYU that they're getting a handle now on what CSU is trying to do with this new look to their offense? And we'll talk about that here. Oh, after a 3-on-1 opportunity, but you don't always want your big man, in this case, Miles, leading your point.
And for BYU, it always starts with penetration. Here comes Lamont Moore. We talked about his speed. He causes the defense to collapse, and when that backside defense collapses, all of a sudden, look, nobody's looking back to the perimeter. Lee Camard is such a good passer. Bam, there's the open man. Find the open guy, force the defense to collapse into the paint, and kick to open guys on the perimeter, and that's vintage BYU.
It's because of ball movement like that BYU leads the conference in assists at about 18 per game. Foul called against Lamont Morgan Jr. 18 fouls against BYU, so a shooting situation 1-1 for Willis Gardner. 75% from the line this year.
When Willis Gardner in that effort at TCU in their last game, 23 points, but we didn't mention was 8 of 10 from the field and 6 for 6 from the line. Almost a perfect game. And BYU has had some unforced errors, unforced turnovers where they've just thrown the basketball away. They did that 2 offensive sets ago, and they do it again here.
BYU only turns the ball over 12 times a game. They have 6. Short on the 3. Camard looking to attack. Emery open again. Misses that one. Chased down. Long rebound by Morgan. He'll dial one up. Third chance, fought for, finally come away with it is Ogade. And he was looking for his outlet, thought he had it, then he looked up and Kamard was in the way.
Yeah, Kamard got in the passing lane, and you'll see Kamard do that. We talk about all the offensive things that Kamard does. He is an outstanding defender, and many times he gets the best player on the opposing team to cover. He's so long on the perimeter that he gets his hands in the passing lanes, and he can play a little bit further off a guard and still get a hand in the face and contest a shot.
Morgan gets the bounce.
When he asks the coaches, give me the lowdown on Lamont Morgan, the first thing they say is, oh, he's blazing fast. Quickness, blazing quickness. So there's a reason he's out on the floor, and that's to push the ball and distribute. And points like that are a bonus.
BYU opening up some space now. They've got a 5-point lead. Kamard getting his hands in on McFarland. Shot clock at 10. Ogade gets the bounce. Andy Ogade leading the Rams with 6. And the Rams back to within 3. Gardner pressuring Emery. Tavenari, nice pass underneath, laid up and in, and the foul as Miles with a chance for a 3-point play.
And Jonathan Tavenari, from last year to this year, I think his experience with the Brazilian national team has really paid off. He's a much more unselfish player, and it was evidenced right there as he gave the ball up for an easy one.
Miles going to the line with a chance for a 3-point play. The Cougars up by 5.
Big O's looking out for the little guy with a Big O bailout. We'll beat any competitor's advertised tire price by 5%. Plus, we'll get you covered with the best warranty in the biz. 6 months, same as cash financing. And our healthy car special, just $29.95. Big O's got you covered with a Big O bailout.
We got you covered at Big O.
This is the girl that pushed the toy that made electricity that lit up the school. These are the BYU engineers that designed the toy that makes electricity that lights up the school. This is the university that taught the engineers that lit up the school and 217 faces. Brigham Young University, education to help the world. And this is a good place to start.
It's about teamwork.
Strength from unity. Rising to the moment.
Reaching for greatness.
It's where excellence becomes reality.
And team becomes the ultimate champion.
This is Mountain West basketball.
And this is where we play. The Mountain, where the West is won.
Coming up today, men's basketball continues with UNLV and TCU at 3:30 and Air Force in New Mexico at 7:30. Right here on the Mountain.
That's the score here. Let's check out the other scores. Time now for a look at the Big O Tires Mountain West scoreboard. And coming up later on at Utah and San Diego State, UNLV, TCU, Air Force, and New Mexico. And the UNLV TCU game and the New Mexico game both coming up here on the Mountain as part of our triple header. Andy Ogade, 6 points. Blaine, you look at the first 6 games of the season, Andy Ogade averaged 16 points per game. The last 7 games, he's averaged just 5. Why the big difference?
Now, Tim Miles said that all of a sudden people said, oh, wait a minute. He was a secret at the beginning of the season, and all of a sudden teams realized they needed a game plan for him, and so now he's got to perform as a marked man, and they feel like this